All right. Welcome, 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 everybody. It is noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on this Sunday, May 3rd, or whatever time it happens to be where you are because you are watching us right now. It is time for our Sunday Master's Mind. It's a great way to end the previous week and to start the new week with a very nice message. And we love it when these messages come from our hosts who are the mosts, our GPSs to success assesses, and our dear friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Terry and Robert Hollis.
Thank you, Craig, the hostess with the mostest, and thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for being here, Terry and Matthew and Deborah and Sandy, Shelly, Dustin, Melody, and Lisa Marie. If she's driving, maybe Fix It Freddy's there. So hi, Fred. Hi, Scott. Hi, Eric. So hello, my unlimited wisdom family. I love you, and thank you for jumping on here. The topic for today is called division. Division. So, hi, Arthur. Nice to have you on here. Happy Sunday to all of you guys. And where I came up with this topic yesterday is something again. I get to tell what would it be, a pretty vulnerable story for me. And I've shared it, but I don't think I've shared it on Master's Mind. But one of the things is as I was becoming a mechanic, and then all of a sudden I was able to get a job out in California. They always had these, groups. We would put together what they are actually called teams, and the teams for that ran different divisions of the race car place. And I remember being really, really young, trying to fit in. You guys will hear all this stuff come together as we go through here. I'm trying to fit in. That's what people want to is feel like they're a part of something, that they feel like they want to fit in. And the team challenge was we needed to come up with an idea, an original idea of something we could do to improve what we were doing with the race car and the team or whatever. And it was one of those things. I don't know if you guys have this personality, maybe you don't. But as people were saying things, and I had been there for maybe a month, and people were saying things, I felt like I don't know. I felt like if I wasn't contributing, I wasn't fitting in. I wasn't doing. I sort of like had the fear of missing out, that I needed to fit in and be a part of the team. And the prior weekend, I had heard another team talk about what they were doing with the underneath of the car to cause this Venturi effect to suck the car down on the racetrack. I know a lot of you might not know this, but the Formula One cars and the Indy cars, they create so much vacuum underneath the car by just the way the underneath of the car is, that they literally could drive upside down. Isn't that crazy? It sucks like pretty close to 800 pounds. It sucks the car to the ground, not counting the spoilers on the front and the rear. So when you see a car doing 270 miles an hour, and a lot of people go, why doesn't it just take off like an airplane? Well, sometimes they do with a little bit of skip or whatever, right? So I heard this team talking about that the effect was working on their car, and I overheard it. So here's me, my time to sort of fit in, right? And so I raised my hand. Of course, I'm known as Bobby Dada Mechanic. And they went, Bobby, go ahead and share. What I shared with them is just what I heard this other team talking about. Hi, Bob. Thanks for getting on. And when I said that, then Roger Penske basically said, can you tell me, how do you know that? So you guys know I wrote a book off this, right? And he said, how do you know that? And I'm like, now you got to tell him, how do you know that? So then what I said to him, of course, I wasn't trying to lie or act like I was smarter than I am, but I just really simply said that I overheard it from this team. And then he decided to use me, and I'm glad that he did. He used me as an example of why you shouldn't be just talking stuff out of your mouth that you don't know. And it was really painful because he started out saying, that each team has X amount of employees, that if a car used that technology that I talked about or that idea and it wrecked, what if it killed the driver, leaving a wife a widow, leaving kids fatherless, leaving a mother and father without a son? I mean, he just really drove it in. And then he says, because that happened, we lose our sponsors. And when the sponsors pull, we lose the team. And now everyone's unemployed. They can't take care of their family. And how many of you have ever experienced a humiliating thing where it really probably lasts 30 seconds, but it felt like 2 hours of getting your ass chewed? Hi, Faith. Thanks for being on here. And I really got the point. And how he ended it, which a lot of people don't do this, we'll talk a little bit about this here as well, is how many of you know people that are really good at finding problems, but they have zero solutions? You know what I mean? All they do is complain, 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 complain. And there's no matter what you do, it's never done correctly. You know what I mean? There's always like criticism immediately. And I even learned that from my other mentor, Bill. He said, listen, you do know that it would take literally seconds for you to lift a person up before you swept their legs out from underneath them. You know what I mean? So you'll notice a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll say something or they'll do something, and then a person will just leave some kind of criticism, but they don't have any solution. And he said, so, take a moment, if it's true, to really sincerely lift them up, tell them why you like them, give them a compliment so that they know that it's coming from a good place. And then once you make your constructive criticism, how many of you believe that there's most of the time no creativity in it whatsoever? Creative criticism. But it's like, then you get criticized, but then after someone gets you criticized, they lift you right back up again. They just tell you they believe in you and da 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 da. Well, both my mentors were great at this. They were really, really good at that. So even though you just felt like you got the biggest ass kicking you've ever gotten, they sort of leave you, up in the air. So you'll notice that sometimes I want you guys to think about it. If you do say something to somebody that is corrective, is it just you say something that's corrective and then you don't build them up on the beginning or the back? So if you'll notice with social media, there's none of this. It's just like wham, you know what I mean? And so a lot of you, and I'm not saying I'm better than you in any way, shape, or form, but how many of you have ever seen me post on your social media or your comments or anybody's comments just basically criticizing them? See, you might not believe this, but I'm telling you, doing that is a total waste of time. And I'm going to share with you why I believe that. Now, the first thing I want to say is when you talk about division, it's like, why would any of us, think about this for a second. Why would any of us feel the need to take a side? So why would we take a side? Well, believe it or not, it's part of our human instincts, right? It's part of our human instincts to feel a part of something. We also are raised to be pretty competitive. Have any of you guys noticed this? Is like from the time that you can understand being a person, it's like, well, it's the cheerleaders and the athletes against the bookworms. You're all in these you're all in these little cliques, right? Or the stoners, right? And you got all these different cliques, and you get in a part of those cliques, and as soon as you do, then it's like us against them, us against the world. Terry and I were laughing because I say to her all the time, it's like, what's that thing that they call when, everyone goes into the gym? You know what I mean? And it's a rally or something. What is it called?
Assembly.
Assembly. Okay. I don't know what you guys called it in your school. Pep rally. Yeah. And so the main reason for going there is because usually the basketball, the soccer, the volleyball team, the football team, the track team, we're all like trying to get them riled up, right? Well, what if you're not involved in any sports? Terry was going like, this is a great time to go out under the bleachers and smoke some weed or something, Terry's like part of that stoner group, and but if we're doing that, then if you're a part of any other sports, wasn't it always your team against the other elementary school, the other junior high team, the other high school? And they sure wouldn't move this from there to college, would they? And they sure wouldn't go from college to professional sports. It's like, it's really, really funny how competitive, that the world is. And in the science of getting rich, it talks about if you ever can take your competitive thing that's driven in you and turn that into a creative mode. Just everything that you're doing is creation. And really the only competition there should be is the concept behind KAIZEN. KAIZEN, the never ending improvement of you just being better than who you were before, right? So when you talk about division, if you never really grew out of this division, then this is the thing that I shared yesterday. It was you guys, I'll make sure that I get this to Craig, but it's, so here's the king, and you see a bunch of pitchforks and torches, and, and the guy says, oh, you don't need to fight them. You just need to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take away their pitchforks. and vice versa. And I know that probably a lot of you have seen comics like this where, I always seen where it shows a little fish in the cartoon, right? And then a big fish. And then all of a sudden it shows all the little fish together in a school, and they're scaring the big fish because they make an outline, and it's like if the whole population ever woke up, truly, truly woke up. Isn't that interesting thought? It's like, well, people took the whole concept of waking up and just made everyone woke. Crazy. So, and so that's where the competitiveness comes in, because then other people can actually use words that you don't understand. Of course, they make them up. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, we're calling this person this. And it's like, no, I'm not. They're this. But when you do this competitiveness, for me, I'm going to share something that's twofold, right? When you're constantly thinking about this, it really puts you in a place where you just don't have any creativity or original thought. You have no creativity or original thought. So that's where I know, it's funny that Elon Musk, whether you like him or not, he calls woke the mind virus. And you basically put it in algorithms, and now all of a sudden what you do is you feel this incredible, I don't know what you would call it, a sense of belonging because you're always connected to a group of people that think like you and act like you and talk like you. Does that make sense? And it's like, it's pretty scary when you think of it. And so, if you're never creative, me and Matt have had some great talks in the last couple of weeks because Matt is so wide open in creativity of creating stuff. He doesn't know what's going on in the world.
Smart.
Does that make sense? That you're so focused in creation that you just don't have time. Well, my sons used to ask me all the time, Dad, what are you doing? And I would always tell them I'm building the empire. That has always been the thing. So if I'm always looking to connect and help people believe in themselves and love themselves so that they actually can create the imagination that they always wanted for themselves and the people that they love, if I can get them out of this wanting to take the pitchforks away from the other person, and the pitchfork people want to take their torches away. That's always been my deal, is like, why do you have to be in that? So how does this all shape around Master's mind? Now, when I say this, you guys are really going to really go crazy. It talks about that when we are born again, we're a new person. When we're born again, we're a new person. We're white as snow. We're clean. We're a new slate. But the other thing it talks about is the consistency of renewing your mind. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, what? Because not only do you need to be renewing your mind, but also you're not of this world. You're not of this world. So there's a spiritual plane, and then there's a flesh plane, right? The human body, or what a lot of people call our meat suit. And so when you're using your meat suit and you're not renewing your mind, then you have a tendency of wanting to be connected with people of this world. And so a lot of people get caught up in all kinds of politics or all kinds of movements and all kinds of stuff. Do you guys know that that's of this world? So if you're really connected with a bunch of stuff that's going on with this world, whether you're red or blue or independent, if you're all caught up in that stuff, then that gives you some value. See, that if you don't love yourself, now all of a sudden you got a value because you're with a group of people. And with that group of people, then what they say is what's going on. You know what I mean? And so all of a sudden you can talk about any topic. There's not a topic that you could bring up where there isn't a group of people that are all combined around and doing that. So one of the things that I did is, when you just talk about, you guys have heard these, but I'm going to fly through them. I just think it's powerful. So when you talk unity versus division, Abraham Lincoln was, a house divided against itself cannot stand. All right? United we stand, divided we fall. How many of us have heard all these statements and it's like, no one's talking about them right now? Patrick Henry said, united we stand, divided we fall. Let us not split into fractions, which must destroy that the union upon which our existence hangs. So it's like, I really see something that's very united when the hockey team played, right? Because it's always, if we're always competitive and we're always fighting us against them, now when the U.S. team is in the Olympics, there's a place where we can stand in unity. But when people purposely, I was going to get passionate. When people just are addicted to chaos and division. This is the only time that I've seen where our hockey team won the gold medal. And there's a large group of people in the United States like F hockey, F athletes. It's like, then it's like we all of a sudden seen people that are supposed to be journalists, and I say supposed to be, and the very first thing that they bring up is politics. So you won the gold medal. Yeah, they said this to the girls and the guys. So you won the gold medal. Yeah. How does it make you feel that you're a gold medal winner for a country that so-and-so's involved with? Did you guys see some of this yet? And you had enough athletes, and believe it or not, more women than men that are going, I'm just not going there. I love my country. I love what I stand for. You know, I'm not going there. But why does everyone want to bring that up? Because it causes controversy. Nowadays, it's like if you get someone that says something positive and then get someone that says something negative, they can get more stuff around that. And then when someone does get something great happen to them, is that, you know, there's two different views. You guys heard two different views on this. So when Trump invited the hockey team, men's hockey team, to come to the White House, there was a whole rumor going around that he didn't invite the girls. And it's like, no, he invited them, and the girls already had something scheduled. So where does the other division come from? Then everyone out there said that he was asked, and the girls told him no. I don't want to go to the White House. It's like you could take one thing about two groups, females and males, both winning gold medals for the Olympics for the United States, and there's a whole group of people that are just consistently trying to cause division. So if you guys seen the, and I really researched for this, but when you guys seen the thing that I posted today on my Facebook, is, you know, it's watch out for those that cause divisions. Keep away from them. Unity is a blessing worth protecting. Now, how many of you guys know that if someone says something, how many of you know people, might be you, that actually will say something right behind that to cause division? And you got to ask yourself, why? Why do you do that? Because my wife is a great example of this.
You're welcome.
And I just love her for it. Because I'll go, hey, did you hear something? Did you hear so-and-so? And she goes, no, I didn't. And then I'll go, what do you think about it? I don't. But you guys have been on Zooms where me and Matt will get in a little bit of not equal. You know what I mean? We'll get in a little different perspectives or views. And then you see Mommy Bear comes out, because it doesn't make a difference if she understands what me and Matt are not agreeing with. She picks Matt's side. So if the volume goes up where it sounds like it's starting to get a little personal or passionate, then Mama Bear comes out and she's going, yeah, whatever Matt says. Yeah, whatever Matt says. And I'm like, what the hell? I guess that's just part of being a Mama Bear.
Watch my kid, man.
I mean, do you guys understand it? It's like, and me and Matt's even talked about it afterwards. If we get, and of course, you know, most of the time, if Matt and I get like that, it's Hannah and Mom will just basically leave the room. They'll go someplace else. Because me and my son like, and it's funny, they even have a word for it, right? A spirited debate. So there can be a debate where people see each other's sides, and that's another thing I'll share with you guys. Albert Einstein basically was saying when you can listen and hear another person's point of view, enough to understand where they're coming from, and it doesn't change your viewpoint, that's the highest rate of intelligence. So, see, you can listen to somebody else's point of view and go, man, I can see where they could think that and come from that, but you do not feel the need to convince them of your way. So I think a lot of people could listen and try to understand someone else's point of view, but then here comes your point of view. So just ask yourself where that's coming from. So I have a couple of others here. John F. Kennedy, let us seek the let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. See what I mean? It's like people are like, it's like Winston Churchill. The empires of the future are the empires of the mind. Often interrupted, division in thinking weakens a nation. Andrew Carnegie, teamwork is the ability to work together toward a common vision. I mean, there's not a person out there you can talk to right now that if you asked if the government was doing in the United States what we thought it needed to do for the people, there's less than 10% of the people that think the government's in it for us. But yet we would rather fight each other than just get the right people in office. And some people have given up on that. Biblical verses. If a house is divided against itself, the house cannot stand. That there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly united. When I read that, I was going like, can it possibly be perfectly united? And if some of you have read the Bible or heard stories out of the Bible, holy cow, is there nothing but just division, 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 division. Young against old, races, males against females. It's like it's just nuts. What?
It sounds like a crazy fucking book.
Yeah. And again, they're just stories, but if you looked at Lion King, I'll pick Toy Story, virtually everyone out there, Star Wars, the whole thing behind it is, I'll give you the example, is that regardless of the show that you watch, there's always the character that's playing the asshole. See, that's the division. So we're going to go create something, and there's always someone that's the person that's saying, it can't be done, this is wrong, you can't do that. So that, and then I was going to, it's pretty funny how fast I found that cartoon, using AI. Let me see. So I asked AI, why do people always go for one side? When you're talking to them and you just bring up something, why is it immediately, where someone will bring up something? And it's like, it's the life concept of simplicity of right versus wrong, us against them, good versus bad. And so everyone wants to believe that they're on the right, us, good side. And so the last thing that I'll share with you guys is it still all comes down to this one thing, right? And I'm not saying that you guys got to do this. This is me just saying what I do. Is that hanging around people that made me look like I wasn't using my brain. I mean that. The things that they accomplished, the wealth that they created, the impact that they do. It's like they're just on such a different level. And, when they made me understand, and that thing that I started with is that, if you were really, really, I'm thinking of some way to punish people without being mean. But what if you said something to somebody and at any moment in time, someone could call you on it. And if you were wrong, you got fined $1,000. And when they proved to you that what you said was wrong and you got fined $1,000, you just don't get to say, well, I heard Jim Joe Bob said this and he's from Arkansas. See, you don't get to do that. All right. Heard this on some news channel, or I heard this on some podcast. Then it would come down to two things. When I hear something, my first thought is, do I really want to know the answer to this question? Now, if I was going to be in a debate with Bob, then I would want, then I might want to do my research so I can prove Bob wrong, right? But here's what my mind does immediately. That would be a waste of time, and I'm not interested in changing my relationship with Bob unless it's to make it better. So I want all of you to sort of think about things that I might have had discussions with you guys about. Because if you notice, I'm always coming from the leverage side of business. So my thoughts are always, I want people to have freedom by supplementing or replacing their income. But that's the way I was brought in and taught. So when I talk to somebody that's all about, no, I'm just going to get customers, you're going to see me sort of go, well, have you ever thought of this? But then does it change my relationship? Because a lot of you, I'll share with you what I think you should do, and you still figure out how to do it your way. But am I mad at you for doing it your way, the way you decide to do it? No, when I see that you've made the decision that this is the way you're going to go about life, I'm only looking for one thing: whether or not you're getting joy and happiness out of it, whether you're getting peace of mind out of it. Because if you are, then I want to help you make what you're doing work. Now, I'm not going to have the expertise, but I can come up with some stuff, right? How many of you, after what did you end up with total customers, Bob, for the month? 191? Yeah, 191. So I add 3 to that, that's 94. So in the last 2 months, 294 customers.
Whoop, whoop.
So how many people think I should continue to get Bob to change the way he does business? See, what's crazy with Bob is what he did got the attention of the people in the company enough to help him and his wife Bev become diamond. So he was rewarded for doing the business his way. And then secondly, he's got more peace of mind and more accomplishments because he's making money. So now he's making money so he don't have to tap into the retirement. So Bob overall feels good about himself. So how many people think that I should do my best to try to cause division and chaos with Bob because I know my ways better? It's not. My way's better for me. So if my way is better for me, why would I want to go out of my way to convince other people against their thoughts and feelings? And I feel the same way about religion. I feel the same way about virtually everything. Is when I can come from a place, and by the way, congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
But when I can come from a place where I go, I want to do my due diligence on this, ask AI, go through Google, really talk to someone that's smarter than me to come up with the answer so I can prove somebody wrong. I don't even get that far. It's like, well, where could I do the research to prove that my answer is correct? That's a waste of time. Then I'm off to being creative. And sometimes I read people's posts. And of course, every once in a while, I hear someone's opinion about something. And I don't know if you guys do what I do, but I'm just like going, man, I don't even know where these people are getting their information. But yet everyone knows. How can everyone know the answer, but all their opinions are different? Can you guys help me out with this? And that's not even causing the division of just flat out lies and rumors. So me and Terry were laughing because, this happens to me every once in a while where I do scroll. I'm not perfect. And I scroll and I'm going, no way did they die. And that I got Terry's main source of news is TMZ. She's going like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go to TMZ and find out if this person died or not. And then when you find out that they didn't, it's like, how many of you just go, God, they got me again. They got me again. And I've shared with you guys that, when email first came out, and I got an email that for every person I forwarded the email to, Bill Gates was going to give me $1. So I know I'm not perfect like you guys. I still sometimes get caught up in some stuff. But the whole key to life is, to learn the lesson. The whole key to life is to learn the lesson. And so I love, you got anything you'd like to say? All right. So I got to ask you, you know what I mean? I don't know. Don't ask her anymore. Okay. So you'll beat me on the shoulder if you have something to say? Okay.
Just talk over you, one of the two.
All right. I like to talk over me. So I love each and every one of you. So thank you, Arthur, Eric, Scott, Lisa Marie, Melody, Shelley, Dustin, Matthew, Hannah, Ezra, Sandy, Deborah Bronner, Michael, and Angela. If you're there, Deborah, did I say Dustin? Because he turned his camera on, so he moved around. And of course, Coach Bob, the hostess with the most is Craig. But I hope that you guys I hope that touched your heart. And basically saying to yourself, how much time do you spend? How much time do you spend dividing? It's just not honestly worth your time. You're supposed to spend that time, in prayer and reading and listening, and building that connection with our master's mind. You know what I mean? You don't have time to, don't be a part of this world. You know what I mean? Be a part of a world that allows you to constantly inspire people and lift people up and be creative for people, inspire them, help them. Don't spend all your time trying to beat other people up, even if they're wrong. That's not your job. The job's already taken. So, yeah, can you imagine if this got out to all the people that are on opinion channels and podcasts? It's like, They were like, I don't know if what I'm saying is true, so I got to quit my job. Or just wait for the AP to spit out some bullet points and then everyone talk about them, you know? So I love you guys. Have a great Sunday. See you tomorrow. Craig, over to you.
Wow, what a great message, Robert. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you all for listening. What I love is that we all inspire everything that goes on here at Unlimited Wisdom. And, when Robert was saying he was going to talk about division yesterday, it was like, okay, what does that refer to? And here we are. So thank you all so very much. Don't forget, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, we have recess. And then every day, every other day at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, we've got events. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we've got Daily Wisdom. Thursday, Breakthroughs. Saturday, Ask Us Anything like yesterday. And we're right back here next Sunday for another amazing Master's Mind. So thank you all very much. There's a few things in the chat. If you want to save the chat, click the three dots in the meeting chat and then click Save Chat. It'll download to your computer once we conclude here. For those of you just watching, we'll post a lot of those notes in the chat, the links and things like that for the replay. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Until next time, please be good to yourselves. Be cash. Bye-bye. I'm going to go ahead and unmute so we can all say so long and have a super Sunday.